Is Brett Augustine. I'm a business advisor for the North Central Texas Small Business Development Centers, which is a leading provider for assistance for small businesses. We are grant funded, which allows us to offer these services and many others at no cost to you. We're happy today to have Mr. Eric Spellmann with us. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrency, what every small business must know. And we're happy to have him. For those of you who don't know Mr. Spellman, he's been doing a lot of great series in the past with us. And if you want to check it out on our YouTube channel, we'll give links to that in the chat later. If you have any questions, speaking of the chat box, if you would leave them in the chat box as we go, and we'll be happy to answer and entertain those questions as we go or at the end whenever Mr. Spellman's ready. Now, with that, Mr. Spellman is an established leader in helping customers meet online goals through practical hands-on application. Also a featured speaker at national technology conferences, and he's been labeled a technology evangelist. And you're about to find out why as he's presenting to us today. His website consistently is ranked one of the top of numerous Google searches globally. Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce Mr. Spellman completely, I'd like to start our day off with Miss Paula McCain, who normally tells us something special about today, every day, and we're happy to have her today because this is the last day of the month, and it's got to be something special. Paula, do we have any special reasons why today exists?
Well, Brett, thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Today is National Clams on the Half Shell Day, National Tater Day, and National Crayon Day. It's
Whoa.
also National Farm Worker Day and National Manatee Appreciation Day, so I'm not sure how I'm going to be celebrating.
Sounds like we have plenty of options, though. Thank you so much for that. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Eric Spellman.
Hey, everybody. I'm Eric, and I'm glad you're here. Now, keep in mind, this can be a little technical. Now, I'm not going to make it technical. Don't worry, okay? So sit down. Don't get up. It's going to be fun. But what I'm saying is, since this is a video, feel free to back it up, watch it again. I mean, that's what this is. I want to make sure that you understand this. There's so much out there about crypto that's not true. And so I'm going to help clear it up for you so that you can make good decisions about what you do or don't do with this amazing new technology. So let me get my presentation up there. Oh. Okay. When we talk about cryptocurrency, we kind of have to define it because a lot of people think, oh, it's just digital cash. It's just digital money. Not quite. Crypto is different. Crypto is different than you using your debit card and getting money, and there was never cash involved. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a little different. It's its own currency. It's not U.S. It's not French. It's not any other country. It's a currency that exists outside of a country's limits, and you need to understand that from an international trade standpoint. You need to understand that our currency, the U.S. dollar, although it is traded by a lot of countries and used up by a lot of countries for trade, isn't the only one that's used. And when you have a digital currency that everyone agrees on, people outside the US as well, you shake things up. And I'm here to tell you that you, as a small business owner, need to understand this trend and need to be ready. So pay attention. We're diving in. What is cryptocurrency? Okay. When we define cryptocurrency, it's virtual money. Okay. Now, what do we mean by virtual money? Let's back up a little and help people understand why money even has value. Okay. A dollar in and of itself is a piece of paper with ink on it. It has no value. That dollar has no value based on what it's made of. It has value because we say it has value. Okay. All money only has value because we claim it does. It's a belief, and we all believe together. So therefore, if I believe it has money or has value and you believe it has value, when I give it to you, you believe you've received value. As long as we all believe that it has value, the system works. That's why crypto is it's kind of like a wild west town right now. A lot of people are nervous about it. They don't know how there can't be more made, like a computer can't just spit more out. Because think about it. If everyone can make money, money is worthless. Did you hear me? If everyone can make money, money is worthless. So, first of all, in order to be a good currency, the money has to be difficult to create. So difficult that people can't just go out and do it themselves. Now, that creates a problem for digital. Today, however, and we'll get into how it actually works in a minute. And trust me, it's not technical. It'll be something you can impress people at a cocktail party with, okay? So just bear with me here. Virtual money is kind of what crypto is. And right now it's worth about $1.3 trillion. Yes, that's right. Today, all of the crypto out there, if you added it all up, is probably worth, it's almost getting probably closer to 2 trillion at this point. The beautiful thing about this is there's no middleman. There's no banks involved. Now, that's also what makes crypto different than other currency. You see, every other currency requires banks. Every other currency has banks that can store it. And that way it has value. They can make sure it retains its value. Banks are how you deal with it. In order to spend any money, you're going through a bank. Even when you go to the grocery store and use your debit card, it's going through the bank. Every transaction you do goes through what? A bank. Not with crypto. That's one of the differences. And it's also one of the things that makes a lot of governments nervous because when transactions go through a bank, they're documented. You know, we can go back and look at it. We can see a trail, if you will. So one of the reasons that crypto makes people a little nervous is that there's no banks. There's no one watching. It's like if I give you cash, I have cash in my pocket, and I walk over to you and hand you that cash. There was no bank involved, and only I and you were involved in that entire transaction. There's no government control. The government has no say in crypto. And that's weird. And you know who's getting upset about it? The IRS. The IRS is worried that people are using crypto to hide things because IRS has no access to crypto. There is no central bank they can go to and say, go to Mr. Spellman's accounts and tell us about these transactions. They can't do it. It gets interesting. I'm not trying to scare you from crypto because personally, I think crypto is the future. Personally, I think crypto is the way everything is going, so you just better get ready for it now. But I'm telling you that we're in that age where we're figuring things out. And mistakes are being made and people are getting burned a little bit. Some are, not all. But it's teaching us. So there's no governmental control. And a lot of people tend to like that. Unfortunately, a lot of criminal organizations tend to like that as well. There is no one crypto. There's not. I mean, there's Bitcoin, Dogecoin, I can list them, Ethereum, I could list them. And we're about to talk about a bunch of them. But there's so many, there's thousands of them. It's so easy to create one. But what makes one work over another is whether people use it and whether people trust it and whether people take it as currency. And we'll talk about who's taking it, by the way. But it all comes down to this. You've probably heard this word, you've just never really maybe understood it. This is the word I'm going to explain to you, blockchain. It is what allows crypto to be safe. It is what allows crypto to have value. And it's also what allows crypto to be near impossible to copy. This is the security system. It's called blockchain, and it wasn't really even created for crypto. It's like another technology that someone said, oh, wouldn't this be cool? Yeah, let's try it. And boom, it worked. I mean, blockchain was developed for other things and not for this. So understand that the secret is blockchain. So let's dive into blockchain. Now, some of you are going to go, oh gosh, he's going into math. I failed math. Come on, people. Listen closely. I'm going to explain it. And if you miss it, you watch it again. Because in order for you to feel comfortable, look at me. In order for you to feel comfortable, you need to understand that it's safe. And you need to be able to believe that it's safe. And you need to be able to tell your grandmother why it's safe. You need to be able to explain it. So listen closely. I'm giving you the way to explain it. Basically, blockchain is all based on the fact that math is hard. That's it. Blockchain, the entire security of crypto, is based on the fact that people can't readily do math. that people can't easily just go and do math without a big old calculator. And the bigger the equation, the bigger the formula, the bigger the mathematical, harder it is to solve. And it even gets harder for a computer to solve. And eventually you can get mathematical problems so big that even today's computers take a while to do them. And if you keep going up from that, bigger, 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 today's computers can't do it. It would take years, if not decades, if not centuries, for today's computers to solve that math problem. So the way that blockchain works is this. The way that new crypto is made, so for instance, Bitcoin, we'll just start with the big one on the block. They're the Walmart of everything here. Bitcoin, the way it's created is by solving a math problem. One Bitcoin is created by solving a math problem, and the math problems get increasingly difficult. So when Bitcoin first came out and there was no Bitcoin, none, I was going to create the first Bitcoin. Basically, the math problem was 1 + 1 = 2. Wow, that's easy. Heck, my computer can do that. I can make all the Bitcoin I want. No, because the formula gets harder after that. So the second piece of Bitcoin, it's like 1 + 1 + 8 = 9. And then 10 + 33. And then 585 divided by, you see what I'm saying? The problems get increasingly harder. So as you create more and more Bitcoin, the formulas become more difficult. And today's computers become difficult doing it. They can't do it. So here's how it works. When someone buys something with Bitcoin, that transaction, in other words, you from this wallet spent this much money and sent it to this person or this other person. It's impossible looking at a transaction to see exactly who it is, but it is that person. When you do that, that little transaction is stored on a whole bunch of other blockchains, other transactions. You see, your transaction is mixed with other transactions, and your transaction is copied and added onto other people's receipts. Think of it like a receipt. The receipt or proof that you bought something, proof that you spent Bitcoin, your receipt is copied and stored with other people's receipts. And so it's not like I can look at my receipt and see all your stuff you bought. It's not like that. But it's like there's a copy of it. So if there's a copy of me giving you 5 Bitcoins all over the internet, then me trying to come and say, no, you didn't. I still got Bitcoin. And I use my computer and say, I still have it. No, it doesn't work because all those receipts out there prove otherwise. You see what I'm saying? Because of all the receipts for transactions out there. Now, keep in mind, the transactions prove that this wallet, this system, this person, if you will, transacted with this person this many Bitcoins. Because the copy of that receipt is everywhere, me trying to fake it or reverse it is impossible because the system will reject it. It will see that that transaction is legit. That's what blockchain is. It uses receipts to verify that no one's trying to do anything funky, okay? Every transaction is verified repeatedly. They're being checked and constantly checked against the blockchain. The blockchain is where all your transactions are stored. But once again, it's impossible to know who it is because it doesn't say Eric Spellmann spent this. It says this wallet, this ID spent this, and it's not even tied to me. You can't look at it and tell that it's me. Now, this ledger of transactions, like I said, is replicated to every user. And so chances are, if you are participating in crypto, you have a copy of other transactions in your crypto, other people's stuff, and you're helping to verify that what they did was legit. Does this make sense? We're all kind of helping to verify. See, in the real world, here's an economics little study. In the real world, how do we verify that the dollar is worth anything? Because the US government guarantees it, because banks guarantee it. You see what I'm saying? We don't have that. We don't have that with crypto. So it's a matter of trust in math. In order for crypto to have money, in order for crypto to have value, you have to trust that the math is good. And it is. I mean, it's math. So the ledger is replicated or copied to every user out there so that people can't just make stuff up. Now, how is crypto actually made? Well, I kind of showed you that a little bit. Basically, it is mined. And what mining means is you get a computer, and today you need a super fast computer. And with Bitcoin, you almost need like Google level warehouse of computers to handle this. Because remember, what did I tell you? Every Bitcoin that's created, the next one takes more oomph, more computer oomph to do it. Eventually, the necessary computer resources, the cost of those resources outweigh making the Bitcoin. Did you hear me? Eventually, it can take so much electricity to make one Bitcoin that you're losing money. So eventually, Bitcoin hits a plateau, or crypto hits a plateau, where the cost of making more is more than the value of the Bitcoin itself, or the value of the crypto. So it kind of holds steady. And as people spend it, and if people start holding on to it, then maybe other people, but people still mine it. In fact, you can still set up your own little crypto mine. You can set up your own little Bitcoin miner. It'll probably take forever now because there's so much Bitcoin out there. But that's why a lot of people start in with these small little cryptos, these little, so for instance, maybe I made something called Spellmoney. Okay. A new crypto called Spellmoney, and I created it. Big deal. The key is convincing everyone to use it. Okay. So I can mine it all day long. I can tell you I've got 18 Spellmonies. And you're like, so unless I convince you to use it, there's no point in it. But in the beginning, I'm rich. The first person in Bitcoin is rich. Okay. So is a lot of other people after that. And so there's a lot of new ones starting up. So sometimes when the mining is easy, when the problems are 1 + 1 = 2, you can set your own little laptop up and make $30 in 30 seconds. But it's only $30 if you can take whatever that was you just created and sell it back for dollars or another Bitcoin. Remember that value is up here. Value is up here. That's the only place it exists. Okay.
Eric,
Yeah.
you asked for a little bit of interaction.
Please.
I would love to ask you, because you've done a great job of explaining blockchain and the mathematics circle that goes around to make sure that it's encrypted from end to end, and it makes it a safe transaction. That part's understood, in my opinion. You did a great job of explaining that. Thank you, by the way. I love the fact that everybody's receipts are verifying everybody else's receipts. Awesome. Well explained. And then we get down to it's mind. Okay. Of course, we all think the same thing. And Paula mentioned this earlier in a different attempt to understand cryptocurrency, that we think of little miner hats and miners going in and doing it because there's a base value of something that people say is valuable, such as gold, right? And we all know that Fort Knox has all the gold it needs to cover all the needs of all the printed money that's out there. Right? Okay, yeah. And so with that understanding, I see that we're creating a new gold standard, if you will. And what I'm not getting, and I apologize for not getting it, but to me, it sounds like if you spend electricity on these mathematic equations that actually are not doing anything except for making mathematic equations, not like solving world hunger with those equations, and not like, trying to find the cure of cancer or anything really valuable. How in the world did we think that it would become valuable? I love the idea of Spellman money, by the way. I will participate. I'll be happy to collect that. Let me be a part of that. But I want to know how I can mine that money so that I have as much as I need. Because if you don't get paid in Spellman money with your job, then it means nothing to have any of it, right? Or if nobody takes the money. So please help me understand the part about in the beginning, there was a Bitcoin. No, in the beginning, there was an idea of something to trade. So help me get that. I'm trying to figure
Oh,
out.
trust me, I'm about to tell you the story of Bitcoin, and it'll make a lot more sense.
Great, thank
But
you.
yes, mining is how all crypto is created. Whether companies do it with large systems or whether you do it on your laptop. Mining is like mining. And you know, when you first find a gold vein, it's easy to get to because it's at the surface. But then as you go deeper, it gets more expensive to get it. And that's kind of what's happening here. It's getting more expensive to get it. But that's what helps it maintain its value. If I can just create Bitcoins left and right, it has no value whatsoever. Because I can say I have 1,000 Bitcoins. And you go, yeah, I just made 1,000 Bitcoins myself. Well, so, you know what I'm saying? So Bitcoins, Bitcoins are only, or crypto is only valuable when it's rare. Crypto is only valuable when it can't be easily replicated. So excellent question. Excellent question. And you're about to get the answer to that. Is counterfeiting possible? Okay. It is more difficult than paper. See, one of the problems we are getting to here is that technology is moving faster than our government is. Think about printers. When printers came out, color printers came out, all of a sudden the cash had to suddenly start getting new counterfeiting stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because color printers can create, I mean, near perfect duplicates of actual cash. The US government and all governments and all technology people realize that cash is going away. Can I just say that right now? Cash is going away. It's going to be used less and less. Okay. Now, did I say it's going to be gone totally? No. But fewer people will take it. And the reason fewer people will take it is because it'll be easily counterfeited. Okay. And they want something that can't be counterfeited. And believe it or not, crypto is more safe than cash. Oh, I felt that. I felt that. Yo, oh, I knew when I said that, I get a punch. Crypto is safer than cash. I know someone just wants to argue with me on that, but I'm telling you, it is easier to copy cash than it is to copy crypto. What makes it harder is that it's decentralized. Okay, there is no central Bitcoin bank. There is no central Bitcoin printer or creator. Everyone can create it, but in order to be Bitcoin, it's gotta do the formulas, and the formulas have to get more difficult, and this can be verified. And so it's, I'm not going to say it's impossible to counterfeit, and you'll understand why I say that in a minute. But compared to cash, it is. Compared to cash, it's impossible to counterfeit. Like I said, this public ledger, this public list of transactions is replicated on a whole bunch of computers. And anytime someone tries to mess with that transaction, it's rejected because it's easily verified on all the other computers. That's not what happened. So that's, like I said, that's one reason why it's doing well. Now, the reason crypto really hasn't taken off like crazy everywhere, you're seeing large companies do it, and I'll list you some here in a minute. The reason it's not catching on as quickly is because normal people like you, I'm not normal, normal people like you, and a lot of other people who don't delve into this every day, they don't get it, and it's not being explained in a way. Okay, it's difficult to explain. I'll be honest. Blockchain is a difficult concept to explain to Joe America. You follow me? Because it does involve understanding concepts of transactions and difficult mathematical transactions. So just realize cash is going away, crypto's coming, and it is the future. Eventually, everyone's currency will be one currency or it'll be a few cryptos. That's just the direction we're going. Now, remember, I kept hesitating on, is it impossible to counterfeit? I am not an absolutist. You will never hear me say absolute statements out there like, it'll never be cracked. That's like saying, we'll never, well, with the paperless society, we'll get rid of all printers. We'll never have paper again. Remember those days? Yeah, I don't make absolutist statements like that anymore. So I'm going to tell you that it technically is possible to crack crypto. But the only way, hear me, the only way would be to use quantum computers and time it so carefully that you could so quickly replace all of those transactions with your fake one. It's next to impossible because the computers necessary to solve that equation that quickly do not exist except in the quantum realm. And yeah, do those computers exist? Yes, but they're in countries, they're owned by countries. They're so expensive. You know, in the US, we have a bunch of quantum computers, and I have a whole talk on quantum computers and why they're going to change the world, and they will. But right now, there's just not a lot. Google has one, Microsoft has one, and they're all able to solve equations that can take today's most powerful computers years, if not forever. So technically, yes, you can crack encryption with a quantum computer. You could crack bank encryption with a quantum computer. But what makes this not a big deal yet is that not everyone has quantum computers, and they're very difficult to do. So, like I said, it is technically possible, but then again, counterfeiting cash is more easily done. You know, counterfeiting, if I wanted to steal your cash, I would just send you an email with a virus and then use your computer at night when you weren't there, and you probably have your logins saved. So I'd go straight to your bank and just transfer the money. Okay, that's easy, does not require any quantum computers. That's what hackers like to do. They're not doing all this Hollywood stuff like you always see, you know, big walls and banks of blinking lights and stuff. You don't, that's not how hackers work. Okay, they want the easiest access to the money, which usually involves just faking you out, you know, and tricking you into giving it to me. So we don't see a lot of people trying to break into crypto. Well, if they're good at it, I guess we wouldn't see them. Here's the things that are important to remember. If you're going to look into crypto, and I believe every one of you watching should play in crypto, even if it's $5, okay? $5, okay? I dropped $500 in crypto about a year ago, and I just wanted to watch it. I wanted to get experience with using crypto. So I dropped 500 bucks, and I've been watching it, and it got as low as $100. Yeah. And it's been as high as $700. Okay. But I'm watching it. I'm not pulling it out. I'm just watching it. Okay. Because I want to understand it. And also, in order to do that, it forced me to learn a lot of the tools used to do that. And one of the first tools that you need to learn is called a wallet. The wallet, technically, is where you keep your Bitcoin. It's not a physical wallet, it's not made of leather. It's like an account. Okay. Now, this account is a very special account because it uses that same blockchain kind of algorithm to lock the wallet. And here's the deal. All your Bitcoin is stored in the wallet. If you forget your password, you lose everything. There is no I forgot my password. Do you understand this? It's not like a password into your email. It's not like a phrase that lets you in. This password you choose is not a password technically. It's the encryption key. In other words, the encryption, the entire scrambling of all that data so no one can see it, is based on the letters in that password. You don't know the password, you can't get in. There's a guy out there, I've read his story, who's got 200 million in crypto, $200 million in crypto, and he forgot the password. Now, in his wallet, he has three, I think in most of them, you get three chances. And if you can't log in the third time, you lose it forever. When I tell you that this password is important, I mean it is important. Now, having said that, don't you dare write it down. Don't you dare put it on a sticky note and put it on your refrigerator. Come on now. What I want you to do is you've just got to memorize it. You've just got to do it like your life depends on it. Because it kind of does financially. Okay? I know I'm scaring some of you, but this should also be giving you some relief because it's like that's how safe it is. That's how important it is. That's how secure it is.
Hey, Eric,
Yeah.
I have a question about that. So the guy that has lost the 200 million, does it just sit there or does it go back out into the ether?
No, it's not that he didn't lose it. He has one chance left, but he's afraid to try.
Well, I understand that. Yeah, I don't blame him.
So he hasn't lost it. he can't use it, he can't spend it, and he can't prove that he owns it. The only person who can prove they own it is the person with the password. So there's no way to bring it back. There's no bank to say, yeah, we have records of him having this. Because guess what? There's no record. The record exists in his wallet.
I have to keep adding on to what Paula's saying here. So here's a question. So here I am with all that in my head, $2 million in my electronic wallet. The key is right here in the middle of an unfortunate accident. And now my wife has no access to that money.
You're exactly right.
How? What? Do we
Exactly.
need to
And
rethink that? Do we have to trust our wife and pray she's not our ex-wife tomorrow?
you are taking this down a really bizarre path, and I'm going to ask you to stop.
No, I think about it because as the older I get, the more I realize how important it is to have things in order for your retirement.
Yeah, true. Now that is legit. You are exactly right because you're right. So what are you going to do? What a lot of people recommend, and I'm glad you brought that up. What a lot of people recommend is that you do write this password down, but put it in a safe deposit box, kind of as a, in case of emergency kind of a thing. Put it in a sealed envelope in a safe. Never go get it. That way, I agree. You need to, because you're right. You could get hit in the head and forget it. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, heaven forbid. Hopefully that never happens. However, I was just contemplating
hey,
getting older
you
and
cost
falling
your
down.
wife 200 million, you'll be hit in the head. Okay. So,
Word.
so also keep in mind, you forget the password, it's gone. That's because there's no banks. There is no banks to go, you know what? We got you. You know what? Well, you're good for 100,000. Our accounts, we'll insure your accounts for 100,000. You don't worry, you're safe. If someone steals it, you're covered. Guess what? That don't exist in the crypto world because no country is responsible for it. Do you follow me? You're responsible for it. You.
So I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm
No, you're
sorry.
not. Please just ask.
Okay, so and all of this is kind of a paradigm shift. I have to stop thinking about stuff I can see, touch, feel, smell, and think abstract. So that money isn't, there's not actually any money in that wallet. There's receipts where crypto was put into that wallet. There's registers, and
There's
that's
a
the only
there's a
thing.
little bit of data in there that says you have this many bitcoins.
Okay,
That's it.
okay.
How do
That's
you
it.
buy them then? If you don't mine them, I mean, if you don't want to have supercomputers everywhere, and I'm sorry, Paula, you just inspired a whole thinking process. I'm trying not to go down the rabbit hole, but it's Eric's fault. Eric, if it is, if if you don't want to be the guy who has a bunch of humming computers in the house, and you say, I just want to invest in or buy it, do you just buy the stock and you have access to it? How do you actually put money in your wallet?
No,
There,
you
and I'll
actually
shut
buy
up.
you actually buy it. Okay. And so basically in the wallet, you're going to use real cash like US dollars. And so what you do is you go through a broker. And the broker looks at the current value of Bitcoin. I'll just use that as an example. And then at that value, you give him $5, he gives you 0.0025 Bitcoins or whatever. Okay. And that transaction is down your ledger. You now have 0.0025 Bitcoins. And yes, you can have pieces of Bitcoins. Okay. So they got $5. So they transferred those Bitcoins from their collection to you. They had a collection of it. They sold it to you. Okay. Their wallet, it transferred from their wallet to your wallet. You gave them cash. They transferred Bitcoin to your wallet. And there's a process for that. There is. Keep in mind, this is not FDIC backed. There's no, if it gets stolen, you're done. There's no one, not much they can do. And also the transaction cannot be reversed. Unlike a bank, where you can call the bank and go, oh, undo that. No, can't do it. Because the transaction is between you and the other wallet. And the second it's done, it's done. There is no middleman who can undo it, so to speak. Okay. So you do not want to do this drunk. Okay. oh, you can get in bad Bitcoin trouble that way. So, who are the big players? And by the way, I understand the whole concept of how it works is fascinating. If I were to go into more detail, it would get way more technical and you'd be asleep in 2 minutes. Okay. But just understand that Bitcoin is created by computers using equations that are more and more difficult to solve. Eventually, you get to the point where fewer Bitcoins are being made, therefore, the value of them goes up because no computer can solve those equations. Okay, that's basically how it works. And Bitcoin has pretty much hit that limit. You know, it's going to hit that limit. Others, not so much. We'll talk about them. So let's talk about who the big players are. And I'm going to go over each one. There's Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, which is what I bought. Ethereum, which is really interesting from a matrix technique. Oh, I can't wait to say about Ethereum. Cardano, which you may not have heard of, but it has a really interesting twist. And Dogecoin. Okay, Dogecoin. Let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a big one. Bitcoin is the big player on the block. And in fact, a lot of people think crypto is Bitcoin and Bitcoin is crypto, and that's all there is. Not so. It was the first one, and it was the first one to be accepted. Despite the graphic you see on the screen, there is no Bitcoin coin, okay? There is no actual coin. That is just a representation. Maybe someone made one, though. That'd be cool. Small countries are adopting. That's right. Actually adopting it as their currency. And the countries you're seeing this happen in are the countries that are volatile, the countries that are not kind of shaky. You know what I'm saying? Politically shaky. And where their own currency is doing this. And they want some stability. So what they do is they switch from their currency to crypto. Now, your question is, why wouldn't they just do that with another country's currency? Because then they're basically saying that other country runs them. You follow me? They're not going to switch to US cash. They're not going to switch to francs or euros or whatever. But what they can switch to is crypto, which isn't owned by any other country. And so what you're seeing is a lot of these little countries switch to crypto, these politically sensitive, vulnerable countries. Excuse me. And they're doing quite well. And it stabilized their markets and made it easy. Now, the problem is in politically unstable countries, you also start to see a lot of crime. And so there is a lot of crypto crime going on. But it's usually about tricking people out of their password. That's all it is. You really can't hack it out of their wallet. So about all you can do is trick people. Now, Bitcoin has a cap of 21 million coins. You probably didn't know that. That is the maximum number of coins that will ever be created in Bitcoin. And even to get to that limit takes supercomputers, okay? But it does have a finite amount. And the reason they have to put a cap on that is so that Bitcoin has value. You follow me? If there were only one nugget of gold in the whole wide world, it'd be worth $1 trillion. But there's not. There's a lot of gold around. So it's worth less because there's more of it laying around. With 21 million coins, and I know that sounds like a lot, for the whole world, that's not a lot. Okay. And so the value of Bitcoin is maintained by the rarity of it. Now, Bitcoin was created by a scientist named Satoshi Nakamoto, but he doesn't exist. Right? When you look at Bitcoin, it was created. And in the early days of Bitcoin, it's very mysterious. I'll be honest, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you're going to love this story. So the first Bitcoin was created out of China by this Satoshi guy, Satoshi Nakamoto. But then no one could find him. People started using Bitcoin, but everyone looked like, hey, where's the guy who created it? Where's the guy? They couldn't find him. Never found him. Turns out he may not have ever existed. They think that maybe it was created in a lab, created by a bunch of people, and his name was simply attached to it. But to this day, we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, or even if he exists. Bitcoin, the creation of Bitcoin, heck, it could be done by aliens, right? Who knows? But Bitcoin was created by a mysterious group of people. Look it up. It's a fascinating story. But there is no Satoshi Nakamoto. But chances are it was created by someone really good at math. The current value, and this is changing every day. Gosh, it's gone up and down. The current value of one Bitcoin is about $42,000. Okay, one Bitcoin. That's why when I said you can buy pieces of Bitcoin, that's what you're going to be doing. Most of us can't even afford one. Any questions on Bitcoin as a currency? Okay.
Minute to start. It
About
doesn't
100. Yeah.
exist.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, because Bitcoin was becoming harder and harder to find, they created Bitcoin Cash. Okay. Bitcoin is made by the same groups now. Not Satoshi, who knows where he is or even if he is, but it was created by Bitcoin. The Bitcoin people created it to scale easier and to go farther. It's like Bitcoin improved. Now, Bitcoin, the main Bitcoin, is still the big one on the block, and it's worth a lot of money. But Bitcoin Cash is cheaper. It doesn't cost $42,000 because here's the deal: the formula allows, the way they created the mathematical formulas, it allows it to go create more Bitcoin Cash than 21 million coins. Does that make sense? It can make more. So it's an easier formula. And technically, you could probably get into it with your computer and make a little. It maybe make 30 cents over a month, but you could do it. Small Bitcoin blocks took longer to do. These are larger blocks. Okay. Remember we called it blockchain? It's like a piece of data. And data is being transferred around. The small blocks couldn't store a lot, but with larger blocks you can, and therefore it can be worth more. So think of it as version 2 of Bitcoin. That's the easiest way to think of it. This is version 2 of Bitcoin. So there could be more of it that exists, and it's easier to get into. In fact, these cash blocks are 8 times larger than the Bitcoin blocks. So they can hold more data, you can store more, you can have many more of them, billions of them. But that also keeps the value low. That keeps the value per Bitcoin Cash low because we haven't gotten close to filling it up yet. It isn't as stable as Bitcoin, not yet, because people don't see it as rare yet. People don't see it as something that's hard to get. But it is backed by the Bitcoin name, and that is giving it a lot. And like I said, I did not buy into Bitcoin when I did a year ago. I bought into Bitcoin Cash, which is this, and it was easier for me to get into. And I also felt like, yeah, it's a little more volatile, a little more shaky, but there's also a greater chance of reward. It's a little more volatile, a little more risk. So the current value of one Bitcoin Cash, $1 in Bitcoin, is $556. So you can see, and that goes up and down. That goes up and down. Like I said, I bought one Bitcoin Cash, and when I bought it, it was 500. And it's gone as low as $100 and gone as high as 700. So, I'm using it to watch. I think of it as Vegas money. I really do. If I lose it, oh well, I learned something. So I think that's what most people should do. They should take some money. Do not use this as your 401. Okay, take some money that you can afford to lose. Take the money that you would have taken to Vegas because you have a better chance of winning with crypto. And just throw it in there and get used to dealing with it. Go buy a couple of things with it. You know what I'm saying? Just get used to using it because as a vendor, you're going to be using it. Did you hear me? As a vendor, as a small business, you're going to start having people listen to me. You're going to start having your customers come up to you and say, do you accept Bitcoin? Do you accept Bitcoin Cash? And if you don't, they're going to go to your competitor who does. The next one is Ethereum. This one is like one of my favorites, mainly because of the name. I just think that name is so cool. Ethereum. It just sounds So neat. It's basically second fiddle to Bitcoin, the Bitcoin group. It's the next one out there, and it's really good and it's pretty stable. Ethereum is doing quite well, but there's something really cool about it. It's 18% of the entire crypto market. The reason people like it so much is because it specializes in auto execute contracts. Now, you're like going, wait, Eric, you just threw something at me. I have no idea what you're talking about. In order for Bitcoin to go from one person to another, one person has to initiate it and the other person has to accept it. So there's two people required to do a transaction. You're thinking, well, isn't that the case in all transactions? No. Ethereum allows contracts to be made, like futures, like stock market, like it can be auto bought and auto sold. You can set it up to auto buy and auto sell, kind of like stock. You can't do that with Bitcoin. And so it makes it really, really useful in business and international trade. Okay. That's really the key. I'm telling you, if international trade is kind of where your business is going, the direction you're kind of thinking, want to expand your territory to global, you really need to be thinking about Ethereum and how it might be possible for you to use that moving forward because other countries are accepting it. Ethereum is also where NFTs come from. Now, do y'all know NFTs? If you watch enough news, you'll know what an NFT is. It's short for non-fungible token. Okay? You only need to know that to impress people at parties. But what an NFT is, it's a digital thing that has value. A digital thing that has value. And what a lot of people are doing is using it for art. They're creating art and then they're selling the NFT. The NFT is like a receipt, a certificate of ownership. Think of it that way. An NFT is a certificate of ownership, except the certificate itself is the thing. Okay, so if I buy an NFT for $100 US dollars, if I buy an NFT from you for $100, what I own is, and maybe I bought a meme. Maybe I bought the little girl standing in front of the house on fire acting all sly. Maybe I bought that meme for $100. Basically, I can then prove using the NFT that I actually own it. That belongs to me. Does that make sense? It's proof of ownership. So if I created something, a piece of art, and you buy it from me, I can give you the NFT. Yes, anyone can go copy a picture and use it as wallpaper on their computer, whether it's legal or not. Nothing stops them from doing that. But with an NFT, I can basically say, no, legally, this belongs to me. Okay. And the way NFTs work is blockchain. Ooh, that's right. The reason these things have value is because a copy of the transaction where the owner sold it to someone else, it's stored on other people's transactions. And that's how it proves that you own an NFT. A lot of old artists are starting to make a lot of money with NFTs. A lot of musical artists are selling some of their songs that way. It's crazy. Artists are really jumping into this. If what you create is so on demand, you could start selling NFTs of it for the digital products that you create. Questions on that? Ethereum can be weird if you don't understand it. It's a little different than Bitcoin.
Go ahead, Paula.
Okay, you just said that artists are using it. So does that mean that the artists that to whom you've given the NFT, they have that, and they're
Right.
the only ones that can use that artwork?
So let's say you're an artist. Here's how it works. You're an artist, and so you create an NFT. Think of it as a badge, as an ID. Okay. So I take my digital art and then I create the NFT.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in that file. Does that make sense? It's kind of like digital in that file, showing that the proof that I have it. And then boom, you have it. You have the NFT, and you can use your wallet, or there's even other kind of wallets specific to Ethereum. Ethereum is used for NFTs all the time. You can buy NFTs with Bitcoin, but really Ethereum is the big NFT uh, wallet of choice. And
Mhm.
so in the Ethereum wallets, you can easily see that proof of all these things. So it's
Eric, a question that I have is in Ethereum, you can also mine that as well?
you can every bit, and that's a great question. Every crypto you can mine. The question is whether it's worth it. Okay, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's not really worth it for the average home user. You'll use more electricity. You'll spend more on electricity than you're going to make in mining. So the where we see it being mined is in large companies with very efficient systems, and where they can do it fast. Or they already have a computer for something else, and in its off time, they use it for mining. They already spent the money for like research or something. But when it's not being used for research, now they can mine some crypto.
And just going back to something you had said earlier today, because I actually love math, one of the few people that do, right? And
Yeah.
so, I often, when I was taking like the physics test or the calculus test and stuff, you would have formulas that you'd have to solve, problems you'd have to solve, and maybe they would give greater weight to, more difficult ones,
Mhm.
the harder it got. But that's not the case with the Bitcoin. They assign the same value for solving this problem as the next. And so that's why it continues to gain. You have to have more and more power to
Right.
mine the exact same thing. But what that does is provide value or perceived value because now you've taken out the most of the people can't mine it and only
Right.
a few can.
Rarity. Value comes from rarity, you know? And you're right. If there's only one gold nugget in the world, it's worth $1 trillion.
Well, I
And
must be worth a whole lot then, because you just can't duplicate this. I,
so
I have a question also about the wallets. Then just hopefully, I don't know. Did you finish that concept before you were finished there? I apologize,
no,
Roger.
I didn't. I didn't. Coinbase is the wallet I use, and it was on a slide earlier, and I'm sorry I went past it.
Coinbase?
Coinbase, yes, it's called Coinbase, and it's the biggest one out there. It's the one everyone seems to use. It's safe. That you got to start with a wallet. So I recommend getting Coinbase. That's what I use, and it's really solid. Just Coinbase.com, and you'll find it. And it's just a little program. You can have it on your phone. You can have it on your computer. It's like a little program. It's kind of like a website, really, but it helps you get into your little vault.
Is this
You know?
anything like PayPal? The way that business transactions are happening through PayPal, but PayPal sucks up a little piece of that as you go?
Yes, yes. That's what they do. They're taking a piece of every transaction. So when you buy more Bitcoin, they get a tiny piece. When any transaction, they get a tiny piece. It's kind of like Visa and MasterCard.
Now, Roger, go ahead. I'm sorry. I think that all that conversation happened around you inspiring questions.
No, that's fine. I was gonna jump ship and go into the next item because the slide that you have on the screen here and one of the things that you talked about I just need a little bit of clarification because it's not the neurons aren't connecting. So when you said the auto execute contracts on the Ethereum,
Uh-huh.
how is that different than Bitcoin when it comes to like futures and stock markets? I guess I'm not understanding how they differ in that transaction piece.
Because it has to do with when you do a Bitcoin, you have to enter the password at that moment. Okay. The human has to do it. There's no way around it. Whereas with auto executing contracts, you can give permission for something to be bought without you having to be there to enter your password. Does that
I
make sense?
got it. Okay. Okay. Now,
Auto execute.
do you
Yeah.
still have a passcode
Yeah,
that
of course.
allows you to control that piece?
Of course. Of
Okay.
course. And like I said, Ethereum was built with the idea that it could be used in, trading of resources and trading of, just everyday stuff, and creating markets for it. That was
Now,
the whole point of Ethereum.
if I can go off on a tiny side tangent,
Yeah.
when you think about the different governments, right, and each of the governments controls their own currency, which effectively means they can print more when they need it, just as Russia is printing money right now to fund the war, just like we printed money when we wanted to put $2 trillion in the economy for COVID. We how would a government why would a government switch over to a finite piece that they don't have the ability to print?
When there's no longer trust in their currency. Basically, that's it. And that's what's going to happen. That's what you're going to see happen, because with today's technology and 3D printers and everything, it's too easy to duplicate printed things, even solid things with 3D printers. And it's going to be too easy to duplicate things. That's all. The cash has pretty much got all these strips in it and weird stuff in it. Have you ever looked at there's not much more they can do after that. You know what I'm saying? It's coming to its end. It's sundown on cash, sunset. That's it.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, so no problem. Now, am I predicting cash is gone tomorrow? No. Am I predicting cash is gone in the next 20 years? No. What I am saying is that's the direction we're moving, because the people won't trust cash anymore because it's too easy to duplicate. You're going to see more and more counterfeiting as technology improves. You're going to see more and more counterfeiting, not of crypto, of US cash. Okay. And as people stop trusting cash, they will start trusting crypto. And we're already seeing that happen in small countries. Okay. Because they don't have the same abilities as us to stop counterfeiting. Current value of one Ethereum coin, so to speak, is $2,872. Cardano. Cardano's really fascinating. It was founded in 2015 by the co-founder of Ethereum. The reason he likes it is because it didn't require as much energy. He came up with a way, and this is the fascinating thing. It keeps its value longer, and it's easier to mine because it doesn't require as much electricity. Okay? And it all has to do with the mathematical formulas he's chosen to do and how he's chosen to do them. I'm not going to go into depth because, to be honest, you almost have to be a mathematical person to kind of get what he's saying. But that's why I put on this slide for all you small business people out there. Cardano was part of Ethereum, but he figured out a way to create it without burning through so much electricity in the computer. And you can start to see the value is $1.42 for one Cardano. It's not as widespread, but it does require less energy, and it's interesting. I think you ought to watch it. The Cardano is something to watch. Dogecoin. Okay, this is the fun one. I love Dogecoin. This is the one that was a joke. This crypto was created as a joke. Okay, and it's named after a dog meme. Okay, Doge. Okay, that's where it gets its name of Dogecoin. It's super easy to mine. In fact, you could go out there and mine Dogecoin right now. They've made it to where there's so much Dogecoin that could be created. The formulas are not tough, so a lot of it can be created by some very non-powerful computers. But also that means it's cheaper. But it is gaining traction since everyone can mine it. The current value, 21 cents of one Dogecoin. Okay, but technically you can mine it. Don't ask me what it takes to currently mine one coin, because it totally depends on your computer. It's totally dependent on that. And the processor in it, how old it is, whether you got mathematical processors in it, it's all based on that CPU. It's all based on how tough your computer is. So who accepts cryptocurrency? I mean, we've talked about how amazing it is, how it's going to be the future, how you're all going to be using it, but right now, who is accepting it? Well, believe it or not, Microsoft, they are now taking crypto. Bitcoin, from what I understand, mostly Bitcoin. And so you can buy and sell things to Microsoft with Bitcoin. Home Depot, yes, that's right. Home Depot takes Bitcoin. And you can go right up to there and use your wallet and pay for it up at the front. Starbucks takes crypto. And what are you noticing about all of these companies? They're pretty technology, pretty forward facing, and the people they serve many times are open to it. You follow me? Whole Foods, another one where you can use crypto, and others are being added. Now, the US government is really getting involved in this because they're starting to see it really take off. And of course, the IRS are the ones concerned. You know, the IRS, how are we tracking all this? You know, is there a way to even know that that transaction even occurred? You know, how are we preventing large amounts of money being transferred to, say, terrorists, things like that? What is a small business takeaway? I recommend, and I've already said this, that you get some play money and go ahead and start playing on crypto, okay? And be ready to lose it, all of it. So don't put your entire savings into it. Please do not be one of these people going to California with a pan and a dream. You know what I'm saying? This is not the gold rush. There's a very large chance you could lose everything. So make sure you hear that in everything I say. Use play money. And the only reason I say is so you can learn it and kind of understand it. Now, if it suddenly takes off and you're super rich, good for you. Throw me a coin, okay? Start with Bitcoin. That's going to be the easiest one. I went with Bitcoin Cash simply because it was still easy to get into. Bitcoin, not so much. You can't buy near as much Bitcoin as you could. Because what did I say? It's worth like $42,000 a coin. So I wanted to feel like I actually owned one coin of something. So when I bought my one Bitcoin Cash for $500, I owned one Bitcoin Cash. I like keeping numbers even that way. Watch the players, see what they're doing. And when I by the major players, I mean technical people, rich people, political people, you know, people who are in the news. Watch what they're doing in crypto. Because trust me, they have people talking to them all the time. But be careful because sometimes they will use their platform to push something they don't necessarily believe in. Good example, last Super Bowl. Do y'all remember the crypto ad? There was a crypto ad. It was that bouncing that bouncing Q code. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all remember that? It was just all over the screen, bouncing around, and no one knew what it was. And so they said, "Oh, there's a QR code. Let's scan it." So they did, and it took you to the crypto.com website where it started to explain crypto to people. There's a lot of super rich crypto people who are trying to get more people to use crypto. And those are the major players. Don't go crazy. Like I said, please don't. This isn't Vegas, okay? Or maybe it is Vegas right now, but it is a real thing. And crypto you may have to hang on to it for a while, but it's going up. And if you choose one of the big players like Ethereum or Bitcoin, then it's pretty good chances that it's not just going to go away and die, which some cryptos already have, and people lost everything. Keep an eye on the feds. Like I said, they're the big question mark on all of this because they're going to want to regulate it. That's right. They want to regulate it. You know, you can't control what you can't see. And so you're gonna see laws where crypto transactions will have to be, if they're over a certain amount, will probably have to be mentioned on your taxes or something. You know what I'm saying? Those laws aren't here yet, but they're coming.
My question is about that exactly. I've heard that the US is even considering its own version of a cryptocurrency. Do you think, in the future for all countries?
Yes, but not for all countries. I think other countries will just start adopting crypto. It's cheaper than creating your own. Um, International trade gets easier when everyone's on one currency. Okay. And so I think what you're going to start to see is the world slowly, and I mean slowly, kind of like how the English language is kind of like the de facto business language of the world. That's what it's going to be. You still have other languages out there, but most people have the ability to talk English if they're international. You know, if they're going to be traveling international, English, speaking English, and understanding written English is one of the biggest skills you need. It gives you advantages in the business world. Well, guess what? That's how crypto will work as well. There'll be other cryptos, but you'll know that with Bitcoin or Euro coin, and I made that totally up, it does not exist, or Australia coin, whatever you want to call it, whoever, if they take it, you'll use it. Okay. Keep an eye on the feds, US government. So if the US comes up with one, yeah, it'll replace cash. They will use it to slowly replace cash. Questions on any of this?
Yeah. Um, Eric, when you talk about the wallets, right? I love the fact that it's private, but then a part of me hates the fact that it's private because it does elicit maybe illegal things happening inside, which that never feels really good. But when I sign up for Coinbase and I take my cash and I hand it over for Bitcoin Cash. Okay, who is selling me that Bitcoin Cash? Who's the seller of that now has taken my paper money and now I have Bitcoin Cash?
It's kind of like the stock market, sort of. Coinbase has like its own reserves a little bit. It's backed by this much crypto, that kind of thing. But it's kind of like the stock market, that there's always people trying to sell Bitcoin and there's always people trying to buy Bitcoin. And so
So Coinbase is similar to like New
brokerages,
York
they're like
Stock
brokerages.
Exchange.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like brokerages. They
Okay.
facilitate it. They help facilitate it. But in
Okay.
the end, you're actually talking to the wallet of the person you're buying it from. Coinbase may facilitate it and help you store it, but you're still buying it for someone else. And if they buy it from you, Coinbase can't get it back.
Right.
That's the thing. And I said that early on in the presentation. There's no do-overs. There's no oopsies. Once it's done, it's gone. Period. Untraceable, gone.
And because the wallets are so private, you don't really know who the seller is that it's coming from.
No, no, you can't verify that. And
Interesting.
that's where a lot of when you hear people having their crypto stolen or it's usually because they were tricked. It's not because of a failure in the technology. It's because it was just a trick. They were conned.
Okay. Did he answer your question there, Roger?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, okay, there's tons of questions. I want to help be respectful of your time and everybody is here as
Yeah.
well. But at the same time, I love what Roger was asking about the Coinbase digital wallet and ideas. And as I think about how that applies to small businesses, would your business create its own wallet then? Is that how you would choose to exchange and do business with other people and maybe even employees to pay? I'm
Yes,
trying to
that's
figure that out mentally because if I'm the owner, or maybe I have several owners, do we just have a wallet for the company now? It's kind of like a bank account.
it's kind of, I want to call it a bank account, but please don't use the word bank because that assumes that it's safely in a
Anti-bank
vault
account.
somewhere. Think of it as a piggy bank in your house. Okay? You have the money, technically. It's not somewhere else safe. You have it. And no one knows you have it. And because no one's inside your piggy bank. And so you can spend it or buy it and it's all yours. That's why I don't call it a bank account because that implies that you've got it safe somewhere. The only thing keeping you from being robbed is encryption and that password.
So, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud here as we contemplate moving from a cash world to a digital world, right? And then you'd mentioned the feds. So Coinbase at the moment takes a small transaction fee for making that happen. I guess in the real world of the feds entering this and the US creating their own cryptocurrency, they could be the Coinbase that receives that quote unquote sales tax, right? Little bit of money every time that money is exchanged.
There could be. It could be something like, yeah, it could be something like a sales tax. Because until the government can somehow get in and look at your wallet, which kind of defeats the whole concept of crypto, until that happens, there's no way for them to enforce anything financially. Because what do you bring to court? Tell me your password so we can put you behind bars. No.
So, so I think at the same time I might buy some Bitcoin Cash, I might actually buy some stock of Coinbase, since that seems.
Yeah, there you go. They're the big ones. They're the big ones, but there's a bunch of different wallets out there. And you watch, you're going to see Visa, MasterCard, American Express, the big banks get into this, the wallet, the whole wallet thing, because they want you to easily be able to take your money in the bank and move it around and crypto and back and forth. And so, yeah, the banks are going to realize, hey, wait, we're losing out on something. We could be getting a fee on something. Let's get into crypto. Watch. You just watch.
Interesting. You know, you think because a credit card represents a piece of plastic that you have more money than you actually have because you can spend it on this plastic and then pay it over time, right? So effectively maybe Visa or MasterCard creates wallets where there's more money or more crypto in there than you actually own, and you can just use it, you know, for a small fee and pay it back. I don't know. Interesting.
That would be an interesting concept. We're kind of on the bleeding edge of this. We really are. Okay. We really are. And yeah, there's a lot of blood.
Well, great job. Thank you very much, Derek. Great.
My
presentation.
pleasure.
I have one. Okay, watching television last night, and the ransom is paid in cash, and the kidnapper says, "Quick, convert that into Bitcoin."
Yep. Untraceable. That's how you make it untraceable, because when people transfer cash to other bank accounts, that's traceable.
Uh-huh.
When you pay a kidnapper, how do you do it? It's got to go to a bank account. So kidnappers today, they're taking Bitcoin. They're taking,
Wow.
they're taking your crypto. It's safe. For them, it's very safe because it's untraceable. You can't be found. Now, between me and you in the last few minutes of this, do I believe that US cybersecurity has techniques that can help find crypto crime? Yes. And we've already seen it. They haven't explained how, but yes. If you'll remember back, I don't know how long it was ago, a company, a group of hackers hacked into some company in the US, and the company paid them in crypto to give them back their files. The US was able to get most of that money back. And they never explained how. But it makes me wonder if the US is a lot smarter than we realize at this point when it comes to crypto. It may not be as untraceable. Because technically every wallet has an ID. You know what I'm saying? So if you can figure out the wallet it went to, then maybe you can, I don't know. It's way beyond this talk for sure to go down that path.
Okay, same television show, different episode. Uh, they're going to a place, an actual physical location where the wallets are housed. Okay, so
No.
that's
No.
not no touch feel or anything. That's data. That's computers, all computers, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I tell them you send that to Eric at ericspellman.com. You'll find my wallet. Boom. Now it's probably a fake account I set up just for this one thing. And boom, it gets transferred. Then I control that account. I transfer it out of that account into another account and keep moving it around. And in no way was anyone watching that happen. So yeah, that first account might be a burner account
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to know the wallet ID for that. But then I can transfer it from that to my. See, I feel like I'm teaching people how to break the law.
Well, I think what you're doing is teaching us how to think about it so that we can create laws that will actually help.
Exactly.
Yeah. We
Rick,
have to be inspired.
I tell people all the time, for every lock there's a key. Okay? There is no such thing as an impregnable vault, as a lock that can't be picked. And the second you create a new lock, there's going to be someone trying to pick it. And yes, they will figure out a way. As computers get faster, it will be possible. But that's why you make the encryption harder. You just stay ahead of it. And so it doesn't mean that it's not a good thing. I'm telling you, we're moving to it. You have no choice. We're moving to it. It may not be in a form that you recognize today. It'll be safer. It will be proven. We will have learned our lessons and made it better and put, things around it to protect it, make it. And the government will probably want to be able to see some of it. So it's in the early stages. That's why I like to say it's in the Wild West town. So throw a little bit of money in it, but not your life savings, Grandma.
Great advice. Hey, does anybody else want to jump in? I know that a few of us that were very interested here, you saw us all jump in, but I see we have plenty of other people that may want to weigh in or have a good question they'd like to throw out there. Let's give you an opportunity to do so. Go right ahead.
And you can throw it in chat too if you don't want to
Or you
put your
can throw it
voice
in
up
chat
there.
and we will be happy to reiterate it as needed. I thank you very much for your time today. This has been
My pleasure.
eye-opening, along with another talk we just recently had as well in one of our other webinars from another young lady, Miss Rebecca Schultz. She helped us understand exactly what you're saying as well. So combining the two has given me good insight as to how this thing actually works, even though it sounds like we just invent stuff as needed as a human race. Hey, we
do.
need a different form of money. Let's just invent it. So
Just
this is
do
the new
it.
version. I think it's great. Go ahead. Please jump in or have any questions here. Anybody? Anybody else? Yes, Paula, I see you.
You could tell. Okay.
Good.
I just an observation from my point of view. This is a paradigm shift, and you can hear the way I'm talking that it's hard not to think of money as something I can see, touch, feel, smell, and get abstract about the whole thing and just absorb it. So all of this information is helping to do that, helping to understand. It'll take a while, but
It is kind of like the internet. Remember when the internet first happened and everyone was going, why would I send an email when I can just fax it?
yeah.
Why would what is this internet trend? I think it's going to go. You're tying
Yeah,
up the phone lines. This will never catch on.
it's a fad. It's just a fad.
Remember that? Remember that
Yes.
was a paradigm shift too. And
Yeah.
they figured it out. They made it better. They improved it. And today you can't live without it.
Right.
It's the
I'll,
same thing. You're just on the beginning of it right now.
I'll just share a really funny story because it just happened to me. But remember the fax machines when they used to answer? It goes,
Oh yeah, the noise. I
So,
love that
so,
noise.
so I was standing in the grocery store and I started hearing that, and the guy had it as his ringtone. Classic, just classic.
I've
Everybody
got to
around him was
do
started
that.
laughing.
That
Except
is.
for the kids, they didn't know what they were hearing, right?
Oh, I worked at Amarillo's first internet service provider, and we had a room full of 500 modems. And if the
Oh,
speakers were on, you could hear that, and it was like a symphony. It was crazy.
So that's what happened to Eric. Got it. He's been reprogrammed. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, this is definitely a conversation that could go on for days and days and days. And I do appreciate your ability to express something so complicated in a much more understandable way, even though we all need to catch on to what that really means. And like you said, it's a wild, wild west. If you have any questions after the fact, please go ahead and send them to us. We'll be happy to get that to Eric, or you have Eric Spellman right here, eric@ericspellman.com. You can always send it to him. He's very responsive and we really appreciate that. Eric, if you have any closing remarks you'd like to have before I go on to close us out for today, I want to thank you for your time. Go right ahead.
The only thing I would say is if you're watching this, please call one of your SBDC counselors. call one of them and just say, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What technology do I need to incorporate? Am I doing it right? Keep in mind, their services don't cost you a thing. They're the most, I could not have had my company had I not had their assistance when I first started out. And so the best thing I can do is simply invest and tell people to call y'all because you really do. You made a difference with me, and I know you'll make a difference with it.
Thank you for that. And with that said, I would love to just share with you guys some information real quick. This is the North Central Texas SBDC YouTube channel right here. And if you go up in the QR code, it should take you right there. I've also placed it in the chat. So you can go back and see Eric Spellmann's other series that he has, and he's got some great things that will take you through some of the technical aspects from websites and website creating, social media, etc. And we have a plethora of training for small business owners to choose from. We hope you will take advantage of that. Like Eric said as well, it is at no cost to you, so please feel free to do that. I'm going to leave that up for a moment while I thank some people. We are, of course, funded, and we want to thank the Small Business Administration, the state of Texas, North Texas SBDC's regional office, and North Central Texas College for making this all happen. And if you want more information about the SBDC, you can go to sbdc.nctc.edu, which is also on your screen at the moment, and we'll be happy to schedule time with an advisor to talk to you about your business. And with that, I just want to let you know, we hope you have an amazing week, what's left of it, and don't forget, buy a little bit of cryptocurrency, but not the whole enchilada. So enjoy, and thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Paula, and everybody who joined us today. We appreciate you. Have a great week.